personal to me, and it's probably pretty personal to you too. It's what we think about ourselves and how what others think about us influence how we think about ourselves. So, Mr. Young and Mr. Flanagan, can you guys come up and help me with just a moment? All right, you guys all know the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Okay. Well, we're going to pass around. I'm going to give Mr. Young a couple of pens and this jar of rocks. You're going to go on this side. You're going to take out one rock, and I want you to write one thing that you don't like about yourself. Okay. One thing you don't like about yourself on that rock. Okay? Physical, mental, anything. Mr. Flanagan's going to pass rocks out on this side and do the same thing. Okay? Okay? When you've got your word written down, you're going to bring it up here and put it in this backpack. Nope, I'm not going to look at it. No one is going to look at any of these rocks. These are yours. Okay? Yes. No, don't write your name. Just write the thing you don't like about yourself. That's all. On either side of it? On either side of it.
You did not even ask Margaret that.
All right. For the rest of you, while you're waiting, open up your Bibles to Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10.
What was it?
Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10.
Yeah, that's coming. Wait a minute.
Wait, do we just hold it?
She said put in the backpack when you're done.
Look up Jeremiah 1 while you're waiting.
Yes, while you're waiting, you're looking up Jeremiah 1.
Once you write yours down, pass your pen to somebody who hasn't wrote something
Yes.
down.
If you haven't gotten the pen yet, keep thinking about what you're going to write.
Okay. Open up your Bible, Jeremiah 1. Jeremiah 1. Oh. All right, Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10. Okay, let's read it together. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. We're going to read that again. Jeremiah 1, 4, and 5. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart to be a prophet to the prophets of the nations. Got our rocks. So some of you know my story, some of you don't know my story. I'm in the process of writing my story. Over the summer I started it. It's a book and it's titled Unwanted. And the reason the title of my book is Unwanted is because that's how I felt I started out my life. Before I was born, so as Jeremiah was saying there, before I knit you together in your mother's womb. So before that happened, I had a man she said, I'm pregnant. We have to get married sooner. And he said, oh, that's funny. Whose is it? And she said, well, it's yours. We're getting married. Obviously, the baby is yours. And he said, I don't think so. Good luck with that. And he left her. Never to be seen or heard from again. I'll get to it. He was seen later. Fast forward 9 months. I'm born. And that woman said, there's no way I can do this by myself. I'm still in college. I've got student loans. I don't have a job. She didn't tell her parents. She was scared of what they would think. So she kept it all secret. She was in college, another state away. So she kept it all a secret. No one knew. So besides, except for her mother. That was the one person she told. Her mother went to her family doctor back in Kansas and said, my daughter got herself in trouble. She's pregnant, and no one can know about it. She's in college, and we just want to have an adoption, very quiet, just 2 lawyers. Do you know anyone who's looking for a baby? Well, there was a couple that they had been married for 6 years, and they desperately, desperately wanted to have children, but it just wasn't in the cards for them. And so the doctor said, actually, one of my nurses has been looking into adoption. And that mother said, wonderful. We'll set her lawyer up with our lawyer, and it'll all be done. So 2 days after I was born in Fairview, Oklahoma, a social worker came down and picked me up and took me to the home in Kansas where I grew up with my parents. Now, throughout my life, so I can't remember a time being told you're adopted. I knew that I was. My parents talked about it frequently, but not in a negative way, just telling me, we chose you. And that should make someone feel special, right? Your parents didn't get to choose most of you, right? They just kind of got stuck. My parents got to choose me. There were hundreds, thousands of other kids that they could have chosen, but they chose me. So, thank you. So I should have felt pretty special. But there was that part of me that still thought, why wouldn't someone want me in the first place? And that took a deep, deep root in my heart. And there would be times when I was your age and younger where I'd say stupid things like, you're not really my parents, I'm you. And I would get to about the end of the driveway before I turned back around and realized there was no way that I could walk a mile into town because I lived in the middle of the country. It was cold outside, so I wouldn't go. I stuck around. Well, if you go forward a couple of years, about 19 years, my parents decided that for my birthday, they would give me my adoption records. And they said, we know this is something you wanted to do. We're going to let you try and find your birth parents. We'll even hire a private investigator for you. Because my parents said, we want to meet these people too and thank them that they had the courage to give you up. Because they had other choices. There were other things they could have done. They didn't choose them. They decided instead to give me someone that really wanted me. So I found my birth mom. Wonderful woman. She'd gotten married. She had 3 more children. So I now had 3 half-sisters. I was pretty excited about that. But she told me, I've still never told anyone. My husband doesn't know. My kids don't know. And her kids at that time were 8, 11, and 14.
How old were you before you?
I was 19. And so she said, if you can wait just a few more years until my kids are a little bit older, that I can explain all of this to them, then we can meet. I said, okay, I can wait a little while. And so I waited, and I never heard from her. I thought maybe she would call me and say, okay, I'm ready. That didn't happen. So I happened to be in a conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I say happened, but I don't think I just happened to be there. I think it was all divinely appointed. And so I knew her last name. I knew that's where she lived. And so I thought, I'm just going to look her up in the phone book. And so I turned to the phone book and I found her last name, but I didn't find her name. I found some names that looked familiar, though, because she told me I had uncles. And so a couple of those names looked familiar, and I called up and I said, I'm an old friend from out of town, and I was wondering if you could give me Anne's phone number. And they said, oh, sure, no problem. And they gave me Anne's phone number. So I called her up, and I heard a voice answer on the other end that sounded similar to mine, but younger. And I said, "Is Ann there?" She said, "No, can I take a message?" I said, "Oh, well, that's fine. I figured this was probably one of my half sisters." I said, "Tell her friend Vanessa called." She said, "Vanessa? From Colorado?" "Yeah." She said, "This is your sister Jennifer. We've been trying to find you." And so here I found out they've been looking for me too, because in between me turning 19 and this time when I was 25, I'd gotten married, changed names, and moved states. So obviously they weren't able to find me because Vanessa Unruh no longer existed, especially in Harper, Kansas. So Vanessa Mininger in Greeley, Colorado was not someone they were looking for. So we set a date and we decided we were going to go get pizza. So we went and we got pizza and we went back to the house, and I met all 3 of my half-sisters. I met 4 uncles. I met 7 cousins. I met 2 grandparents. It was all a bit overwhelming, but I just felt this sense of, this isn't my family. These are people I'm related to by blood. This isn't my family. My family were the ones that raised me, the ones that stayed by my side. Now, on to that man. I asked her about him. I said, "Whatever happened to him?" She said, "Well, funny story. I ran into him about 10 years after you were born, just out of the blue. They were both shopping in the same town and bumped into each other. And he said, 'We were so good together. Whatever happened?' She said, 'Well, I was pregnant and you said it wasn't yours.' And his response was, 'That's right. How did that work out for you?' Talk about a devastation to my spirit. To be, how did that work out for you? Not what happened to my daughter. How did that work out for you? So that did a little bit more to my soul. Now, the reason I had you write down all of those words in this little backpack here was because I probably felt all of these same ways about myself. Short. I didn't feel short. I've been this height since 6th grade. So sorry for those of you who think, I'm going to get taller. It may not happen. Let's see. Need to learn more. Afraid. Skinny. I was actually called the brown-eyed stick. That was one of the nicknames for me. The brown-eyed stick. Because I'm just what? My legs were like this big around. So I just looked like a brown-eyed stick. Now, for those who don't believe me, last night I decided, you know what? I'm going to look up some pictures. So I dug into all of my stuff and I found some pictures of myself. And as I looked through them, the thing that stood out to me was, wow, I really had no idea who I was. And I don't think you have to know who you are, but I tried everything. Let's see, we have a picture here of me playing the flute in a recital. Yes, I played the flute. That was one of the things I tried.
Did you pass that back?
Oh, yes. Let's see, I tried the flute. There was a little boutique in town, and they said, hey, Vanessa, if you will model for us, we will give you free clothes. I was all over that one, so I tried my hand in modeling. 1992. Oh, my hands are very skinny. I was very skinny. I was scarily skinny. Okay, this was one of my best friends. We took a trip to St. Louis, Missouri, and we took pictures. And I have another picture that's, it's actually on Instagram right now because we did duckface. So duckface has not just been invented in this, this generation. We did duckface. So there's us. I tried track. I did the long jump, and I actually held a school record for 2 years in long jump and in the 100-meter dash. I tried gymnastics. Yes, I did gymnastics. I did cheerleading. I actually did cheerleading from 6th grade all the way through high school, and those girls I'm still friends with because they were some of my closest friends. did cheerleading with, because we spent a lot of time together. Here's the scary one. I tried basketball. I was not very good at it, but scarier than my basketball skills was my hair. I had teenage girl crushes. You will have no idea who this is, but your teachers over there all know who this is. This is Luke Perry. He was on a little show called 90210. Oh, my parents. Your parents would know who it is. I played video games with my brother. We had a Nintendo, so this was another thing. I loved playing Mario Brothers. I played softball. I did. I told you, I tried it all. And I also went the academic route, and I was what they call a page in the Kansas Congress for a summer, working for the governor when I was in 8th grade. So I tried it all out. I wanted to see what was I good at, what was I not good at. I can tell you right now, basketball was not my thing. Girls that are 5'4" are not meant, and weigh 90 pounds are not meant to play basketball. It's just not in the cards for us. Cheerleading, I was very good at because they could throw me really high because I didn't weigh very much, so they could just toss me in the air. What are you looking at?
Does not look like you. It says eraser on it.
I tried a little bit of everything.
It says eraser on it.
Yes, that's what they were at.
Oh, I was going to say it fell, but it's eraser.
No. We had shirts that did weird things with it, not it changed colors. What? So, my whole point to showing you all of those pictures is that I was trying.
Mrs. Manager, this one actually looks like you.
Oh, yeah. That's a 21-year-old picture. At age 9.
Black.
Yes.
Look at him quietly, keep listening.
Okay. All right, so the reason that I showed you all of these is because I was trying to figure out what words I was going to choose to define me. Now, while I was choosing all of those words, I was getting a lot of words fed into me also. So I was getting those brown-eyed stick and those smarty pants. Oh, little Miss Smarty Pants. I walked around in high school for a year glaring at everyone because I needed glasses, but I didn't want to get glasses because I thought that's going to amplify the nerd persona even more. So I just walked around like this for a year. And everyone thought I was just really snotty because I walked around glaring at everyone. But it was so I could see everyone and not run into walls. After I got over that fear of the nerd persona and got my glasses, 6 months after I got my glasses, my parents let me get contacts. So then I felt better, but I had that running through my mind. I don't want to be known as that. Now, I love my dad, and I know you all love your parents, and I love my kids, but I also know that the words that our parents say to us stick with us, even when they don't mean to say things. So even some of those positive things that they say to us that we are thinking, oh, that's really going to build them up. To you, it may be saying, oh my goodness, now I have to live up to that. My father was famous for that. So we would go and I would place second in something, and he'd say, next time you'll get first. To me, that just meant second place wasn't good enough. I placed second in the state in debate 2 years in a row and got to go to nationals. So I was going up against people, the best debaters in the nation, and I placed 13th. And my dad said, oh, it's too bad that only the top 12 get the college scholarships. Yeah, Dad, it is. It's really hard that the top 12, I placed 13th 2 years in a row. Ouch. Yeah. So all those things are running through my head of, you're not quite good enough. That's not what my dad was trying to say at all. I know it wasn't. Him and I have had a heart-to-heart many times about, Dad, can you just say, good job. That's all I want. I just want good job. Years later, I applied for a job with Head Start, which is a national preschool program. And when I applied for that job, my dad kind of looked at me and he said, "They know you only have a bachelor's degree, right?" I said, "Yes, Dad, they know I only have a bachelor's degree." And he said, "Well, I'm sure that there's people out there with a master's degree that are applying for that job, so just don't get your hopes up." And I know my dad was trying to protect me, trying to tell me that, you know what, it's okay if you don't get this job. But what I heard was, you better go get a master's or you're never going to get a job. So guess what I did?
Got
I went and got a master's degree. Because I thought, maybe then my dad will be proud of me. Maybe then I'll hear, "Good job," because I've gone and got the master's degree. I got the good job from my dad, and I got my master's degree. I was very happy with that. So us parents have to remember too, that when we're encouraging you, that we don't say, "Next time you'll get first," or "Oh, next year." Because I'm told all the time, "Mom, why do you expect me to be perfect?" And it reminds me that I can't expect my kids to be perfect. I'm doing the same thing to my kids that drove me nuts that my parents did. So we have to remember that too. Now, last night, I went onto Facebook, and I posed this question. If you could tell your 13-year-old self something now about how you felt about yourself then, what would you say? I have some of your parents' comments. Stand up straight. Quit slouching. And you will grow up, and most of these boys will confess that they had a crush on you since 8th grade. Play sports, have fun, be a kid while you can. Boys should not be a priority. You're not fat. Wear sunscreen. Play sports. Salad can be a meal. No one is watching everything you do, say, and think. Honestly, learn to make wise choices now. The patterns follow you through life. Listen to that voice inside that says, "Will this matter or make a difference 10 years from now? Would I do or say this if Grandma was watching? What would Jesus say about it? You aren't as fat or skinny as everyone is saying or thinking." Some of the kids who aren't nice to you now will grow up to respect you later for being who you are now. They might tease you now for being skinny, but wait for the future. They are the ones who will be dieting and exercising their hearts out to look as good as you do naturally. Appreciate and love your body through every stage of life. It will change, it will be different. Someday you will look back and say, "Why was I so hard on myself?" I got to 101 pounds my junior year in high school, and I went on a crash diet of only eating peach yogurt for a week to get under 100 because I was terrified of being over 100 pounds. It absolutely terrified me.
Why?
Now I think I would die if I was 100 pounds right now. But that was something that was in my head. You can't go over that number. So any number you have stuck in your head right now, throw it out. There is no number that makes you healthy. Okay? Nobody's hair is perfect every day. Someday you'll embrace your curls. This was from one of your parents who's been out of school a little bit longer. After 25 years, I don't remember who was the best dressed, who was prom king, who made all conference in football, who had straight A's, or even who had a bad case of acne. I do remember the guy who gave me a ride home from school every day when my ankle was broken. The guy who let me keep my piccolo in his saxophone case so I didn't have to carry mine around. And the guy who was Frankenstein to my Wicked Witch in a play. Relationships and how you treat people are what will be remembered.
Who was that?
Who's that?
Your husband.
That boy you think you're in love with, you're not. Thank God. Be happy with you. Speak life into everyone you meet. No matter what is said about you, speak life. Love how Jesus loved and see others through his eyes. Remember, you will be judged the way you judge others. Focus on God and he will take care of everything that comes your way. For I know the plans I have for you. If I would have known this, trusted his plans, and wasn't quick to judge, I know my life would be different. Yet I'd still have all the treasures of my heart, like my family, my church, my job. How many responses do you get? You are uniquely created by God. You are not supposed to look or be like everyone else. Be you. Be yourself and avoid letting peer pressure change who you are. Remember that God does not make mistakes. He made every 13-year-old just the way he wants them. The people you chose to be your friends can make a huge and lifelong impact on your life, both positive and negative. Choose wisely. Don't try so hard to be in the popular crowd or be friends with the cool kids. True friends don't care what you look like or how you dress. They care about you. You are beautiful for being who you are. You are devoted, grateful, and committed. God sees you as one of the most beautiful women for being who you are. Don't try to be someone else. And finally, you don't have to be so opinionated. That was a bit of favorites.
How many was that?
There were 35 responses to that from 11 p.m. to 6 o'clock this morning. You guys, parents do care about you. They love you. They want you to know those things. That's what they would have told themselves if they could go back in time. So through you, they want you to know all of those things. I want you guys to have an awesome day today. I hope you enjoyed this. And we're going to leave all of our rocks in here. All of those negative things that we said about ourselves, that we think about ourselves, they're going to stay here. So we are walking out of here without those negative images of ourselves. And I hope you all have a blessed